all of a sudden I'm being induced. I have a first-degree tear. I abrupted. My son's in the NICU. His temperature drops. His glucose levels are low. I'm like, what's going on? It felt like bad news on bad news on bad news for like 2 weeks. Hey, what's up, trendsetters? Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing my birth story. I do want to preface before I get started that this video does have a trigger warning. If you read the title, then you're already aware that I did abrupt. I had a first-degree tear. My son was in the NICU for over a week, so I just want to put that out there before sharing my story. I'm not here to instill fear in anyone. I believe childbirth, pregnancy, all those things are beautiful. I believe it's a blessing from God, but I'm just here to share my personal story, and I hope that it encourages other people and also reminds them of the power of God. Okay, so I'm gonna have my phone out for some of this because, like I said, this was 2 years ago now. Well, almost 2 years ago. So I wrote everything down. It's not overly descriptive because it was 2 years ago. However, you guys are gonna get the gist of my story and how everything transpired. Okay, so to start, I went into my doctor's appointment. This is my 36-week doctor's appointment. So if you guys are not aware, at 36 weeks, typically if you're not high risk, if you didn't have any complications or anything like that throughout your pregnancy, you go in at 36 weeks and you have a sonogram and you have your GBS swab, and I think sometimes they'll do a cervical check, depends. So I go in for my appointment. I remember this particular appointment running late. Like, I was so stressed. I live an hour away from the hospital. It took me a while to get there. Like I said, I live an hour away. So I remember running a little late, and my husband got held up at work. So he also got there late. So I remember getting sent back pretty much immediately for my sonogram. And if you guys don't know, that's when you get the ultrasound to just make sure baby's doing well, to get measurements, all of that stuff. I'm fairly familiar with ultrasounds and like what to look out for, because if you guys don't know, at one point in time I was interested in sonography and becoming an ultrasound tech. I didn't end up doing it, but anyway, so while she's scanning, I'm checking for myself and I'm looking at, the scan, and I'm like, I do feel like my fluid looks a little low. Like I could tell. And then not only that, but the sonographer was also kind of quiet. Like, your ultrasound tech is not allowed to disclose medical advice or anything like that, or anything that they see. They have to leave it up to the doctor. So she's scanning me. Like I said, I did feel like my fluid looked a little low. And for context, I'm 36 weeks at this appointment. But at 33 weeks, we had our baby shower. So at the baby shower, I remember getting a little sick. I think it was the day after. I felt very nauseous. My stomach was hurting. And I remember talking to, my family at the time, my brother, my sister-in-law, he was my fiance at the time. And just, explaining to them, like, my stomach really hurts. Like, I don't know what's going on. And they're looking things up and stuff, and it is normal for you to have some digestive issues in your third trimester, but this kind of felt like a stomach bug. Like, my stomach was just crampy. I don't know, I felt really off. So the rest of the day goes by. I remember my nephew comes over and he goes swimming with my fiance and my family. And I was bummed because I couldn't go. I wasn't feeling well. I just remember texting my fiance at the time, like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I should go to the hospital. I'm really not feeling well, and like, I really couldn't eat anything at this point or drink any water. It was just really difficult. So I spoke to my fiance's aunt. She's a nurse, and she basically told me that if I feel in my heart that I need to go to the hospital, that I should just go. It can't hurt to check, but also the most important thing is to just stay hydrated. I thought I stayed hydrated. So let's go back to my ultrasound. So at the ultrasound appointment, like I said, ultrasound tech can't disclose anything. She leaves the room. She says, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna double check with the doctor and make sure that I got everything and that the pictures are, you know, good enough or whatever she needs, basically. So she checks with the doctor. Doctor's okay with everything that she got, all the pictures that she has, and I get sent back out to the waiting room, which is normal. This is where you then get picked up by your MA, your medical assistant, to get your vitals. So the MA comes over, she takes my vitals and everything, and while I'm getting my vitals, I think it was right before I got my blood pressure, the doctor comes in. She just pops in a little bit. Her office is across from where I get my vitals. So she says to me, have you spoken to the doctor yet? She's my doctor, but I think she was referring to the doctor that oversees all the sonograms, or like all the ultrasounds. So she's the one who like analyzes the pictures and stuff like that. I'm not sure what that's called, but I didn't know all this time that there's a whole separate doctor that actually looks over that. And I'm assuming that's the doctor that the sonographer was referring to when she said that she was gonna double check. So anyways, I'm like, no, you know, I haven't spoken to her. And my doctor is like, oh, okay, well, your fluid is a little low and baby's measuring a little small. And at this point, my heart starts racing. I'm like, what? My fluid's low? Because, you know, I'm 36 weeks at this point. I'm aware that low fluid is not good at all, because your baby doesn't have a lot of space, and also they're not getting everything they need. So when I heard those two things, I'm immediately like, what? Like, everything has been going well so far, so what could be happening? You know, how could my fluid be low? So she tells me, but you know, just step into my office when you're done. So when I finish getting my vitals, I go to her office, and that is when she explains to me again that my fluid is low and that baby's measuring a little small. So while she's telling me that, I'm like, what? You know, I'm running through all the possibilities, and I'm like, well, could it be from when I was sick? And she's like, it's possible. Sometimes you just really don't know. Things can happen sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it was from me being sick and just getting dehydrated. The point is, she's like, you need to go downstairs. So I get my GBS swab. If you guys don't know, I'll insert a screenshot of what that is, but it's essentially a swab that you have to get that ensures that you don't have, I want to say it's streptococcus, that could be passed on to your baby if not treated. So I think they typically test you at 36 weeks, and if you do have it, I think you just simply get put on antibiotics. It's common, I think, from what I looked up, but I was negative. Anyways, because I'm told that I need to go downstairs, regardless, the doctor just recommended that I just get antibiotics just in case, because I wouldn't have time to get those results in. So, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to my fiance. He comes in by this point, by the way. I think he comes in after the sonogram, so it's around the time where I'm talking to the doctor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like, I'm still working at this point. Like, I was supposed to be working that weekend, and I'm like, I need to text my management team because I'm not gonna be able to go into work now. Like, I'm being told that I need to go downstairs and have this baby. Now, again, for context, I'm 36 weeks. I'm thinking this is a regular checkup. Everything so far, everything has been going well so far. So I don't have a hospital bag packed. I'm not prepared. I didn't have my birth plan. I had a doula at this point, but I didn't solidify my birth plan yet. So I also didn't have that. So I think I did also get a cervical check, and I was 1 centimeter dilated. So yeah, I go downstairs and I get checked in and everything. The nurse is asking me a bunch of questions, you know, just basic questions. And I think the doctor comes in and basically explains to me her treatment plan, or like her plan for induction. This is not my doctor. I think this is the doctor that's on call. And while she's explaining all of this, I'm like, do I have time to get something to eat? Because again, I was rushing for this appointment. I'm not thinking like I'm gonna have a baby today. I'm not thinking that I'm gonna be held up all day. So my appointment was in the morning, and by this time, I think it's around I don't know, maybe 12 or 1. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, this is 2 years ago, she says that she's gonna, she'll give me some time and that I can go and grab food. So my fiance gets me some food and I eat first and everything, because if you guys don't know, while you're in labor, you can't eat. So you have to eat, it's an all liquid diet. So Jello, broth, popsicles, water. So again, I was also not prepared for that. This is why I think it's important to watch birth stories, inform, you know, do a lot of research and make sure you're well informed as to the possibilities and the different methods of induction, different pain medications, all of that. You should be well aware of all of this by the time you're in your 3rd trimester. That's what I would recommend for anybody watching. So yeah, like I said, I go downstairs. Doctor recommends that I get the Foley balloon to dilate my cervix a little bit more and then kickstart Pitocin, or not kickstart, but then start Pitocin. So I get the Foley balloon, absolutely hated it. Oh my goodness, hated that. I will never get that again. It was just uncomfortable. It's nothing like super painful, but I'm getting there. So I think as you dilate more and more, it starts to slide out. Mine didn't ever fully come out. So the nurse, I remember the nurse saying like she might have to tug it a little bit and then it should just come out. While she's tugging at it, I'm screaming. Like, I'm in so much pain. I don't know what happened, but fast forward, the balloon's out. I go to the bathroom right after and I'm like squirting out blood. Like, trigger warning, but I'm bleeding a lot. And I remember asking, like, is this normal? And she said it can be. Bleeding is normal in labor. I would say spotting and light bleeding, not heavy bleeding. So again, I am not in the medical field. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. So all the things that I'm saying, you can still feel free to look up and ask your doctor if need be. But I know that the level of bleeding that I had later down the line, I found out was not normal. So they start Pitocin and the nurse asked me if I'd like to do get the epidural. I say yes, because at this point, again, I am so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, my birth plan just went out the window. Like, I heard horror stories of women getting induced and how painful it was. So I was so scared. I'm like, I don't want to go unmedicated and now I'm being induced and on Pitocin. So I heard the Pitocin makes the contractions a little bit strong. I get the epidural. Absolutely hate it. I know I'm saying that a lot in this video, but it's the truth. I did not like the sensation of the epidural. I still could feel some pain in my back. And I also just, honestly, I didn't like the idea of just being bedbound and able to go to sleep. I took a nap. I don't remember how far along I was, how far dilated I was at this point, but I remember going to sleep. Again, fast forward, many popsicles, many Jello cups later. At that point, I was like, I'm ready for some food. So this is probably like a day and a half later, right? I finally go to sleep. I guess it's probably like 2 hours at this point. I don't think I was asleep for that long. And I wake up to the nurse saying like, I'd like to have you checked. So I get a cervical check and I'm told that I'm 10 centimeters dilated. Everybody's getting all cheerful and excited. They're like, it's time to push. I'm nervous at this point. Oh, I forgot to mention. So when you get the epidural, I don't know if I missed the instructions for this, but there's a button that you're supposed to press to, I guess, pump the epidural, like the medication, through your tube or whatever. And I guess I missed that instruction. So I didn't do that. So before I went to sleep, I forgot to mention that I was complaining, you know, about being in pain. I was telling the nurse, like, I'm still feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of pain. And that's when she asked me, like, were you pressing the button? And I'm like, the button? Oh, so I don't even know. I think majority of that time before I went to sleep, I don't even know if it was still circulating. I'm like, time to push. Oh my gosh. So I pushed my baby out, I think in like 14 minutes. And and the doctor tells me that I did tear. She's like, you had a 1st-degree tear. And then I think I don't remember if she told me before I pushed the placenta out or after I pushed the baby out, but she also told me that I had a lot of bleeding and that I abrupted. And in my mind, I'm like, I abrupted? I know what that is, but I guess I didn't understand the severity because she was so calm about it. And I later find out, I'll get to that. So everything's going well. I'm able to latch my son on easily. Breastfeeding's going well. I get sent down to mother and baby, and that is when I'm told that his glucose levels are a little low. I can't remember how many readings were low. I think it was 1 or 2 readings, and ultimately the doctor felt, or maybe it was the nurse practitioner, one of them recommended that we just have him sent up to the NICU to be closely monitored. So we go upstairs to the NICU. He's getting triaged, or he's getting checked in and everything. They're trying to get his glucose levels checked. They're trying to get a IV in, and my poor baby, he has small veins just like I do. If you guys don't know, if you guys don't watch my vlogs, I have really small veins. So whenever I get blood work done, and even when I got my IV for birth, I also had to have a specialist, or they had to have a specialist come in to find a vein because my veins are so small. Regardless of how much water I drink, my veins are small. Like, you're gonna need that butterfly needle. So anyways, yeah, they're having a hard time finding his vein. I feel so bad. He's not really crying like that though. He's actually very calm. But yeah, they finally, like after multiple nurses coming in and out, finally are able to find a vein and get his IV in. Forgot to mention that I go in after delivering my placenta. She does let me know that they're gonna send my placenta up to the path lab to get tested. I think this is typical. I think they usually test it, especially if you abrupted. Now, thank you, Jesus, I did not abrupt to the point where I needed a blood transfusion. However, I personally feel like that was very traumatic because I'm like, what do you mean I abrupted? Like, when did that happen? Why was that not identified or discovered beforehand? Because like I said, this is after I pushed my son out that I'm finding out that I had a placental abruption. So placental abruption, 1st-degree tear. My son was in the NICU for over a week, and oh my gosh, many tears, many cries, many prayers later, he is released. But while he was in the NICU, it was very, very difficult. I was breastfeeding. I remember I was at the hospital probably for 4 days straight because I was afraid to leave him. I got to a point where I was so sleep deprived that I had to go home. Thankfully, my parents' house is close to the hospital, so I was able to go home and come back. The nurses, I loved them. Every single NICU nurse that we had was amazing, amazing, amazing. And then the receptionist at the front desk, because the NICU wing is very secure, very, like, we saw the same receptionist every single day. So I remember telling her, like, please watch my baby. You know, they took great care of him. I would put the hospital out, like, I don't want to put the hospital's name out there, but they did a great job. I had really good nurses my whole labor and delivery, and great nurses for my son Noah in the NICU. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, his temperature did drop, so they had to put him in an incubator. I think he was in the incubator for a couple days. That was really hard for me to see, because at this point I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like I failed my son. I'm not understanding like how this all happened. It was all so traumatic, if I'm being honest with you. It took me the longest time to even open up about this. I remember I had a bunch of friends, love you guys down. So glad that you guys were graceful. My friends were texting me, family was texting me. I was not getting back to anybody. I was devastated. I was so traumatized. I, at this point, didn't even know if I wanted to have more kids, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, everything went well my whole entire pregnancy, and now all of a sudden I'm being induced. I have a 1st-degree tear. I abrupted. My son's in the NICU. His temperature drops. His glucose levels are low. I'm like, what's going on? It felt like bad news on bad news on bad news for like 2 weeks. And I'm just praying over my son. I remember my fiance and I, we're praying over him, and we just get to a point where we're so tired, we have to leave. He had left a couple times at this point, you know, to get food here and there, to stay at my parents' house just to get some rest and stuff. But I stayed there because I was breastfeeding, but also because I didn't want to leave his side. I'm like, I just had this baby, and now I'm supposed to just leave him in the hospital. Like, I couldn't fathom the idea, but I did eventually leave. I think I probably left only for like 2 or 3 days total, but I would leave obviously at night and I would come back. I would also check maybe around like 2 in the morning, see how everything's going. And I would talk to the nurses and stuff before I would even leave, so they were aware that I was just going to be leaving for the night. But anyways, it was so devastating. I was so traumatized. To this day, I'm in my 3rd trimester now. I'm nearing the end of my pregnancy, and I am so adamant about just maintaining my health, my mental health, staying hydrated, but also just, I'm a strong believer in advocacy. I believe that you need to have somebody there, whether it's just your partner, your mother, whoever, a family member. I had a doula in my first pregnancy, and I'm gonna have another one this time. I strongly recommend that everybody get a doula or a midwife, or have a really good support system. I think it's very important to have somebody who can speak for you, speak up for you, advocate for you, even while you're in pain, you're laboring. Because if we're being honest here, when you're in a lot of pain, there's a lot of things that you're not gonna be able to really speak up about. So I think it's really good to have somebody who is there to advocate and support you. But anyways, that is my birth story. Hopefully that doesn't scare you guys away from having kids. If you want to, if you don't have kids already, or maybe if you are a mom but just found this birth story to be interesting, I also hope that it touched you, but also reminds you that the power of God is real. My mom was praying the entire time, my entire pregnancy, and it is all glory to God that I am here. Because a lot of moms, or there are moms who have passed away from placental abruptions. Some moms have even lost their child or children if it was multiple, like twins. And so I feel extremely blessed to be here today. I feel blessed to even have a son. I mean, he's so advanced, he's so smart, everything turned out fine, he's thriving. You would never know that he was born 3 weeks early and small. But nonetheless, I say all those things to say, make sure you have a birth plan in place. Make sure that you do a lot of research prior to giving birth. And also make sure that you have somebody who can advocate for you consistently. They need to be by your side the entire time. So yeah, that is all for my birth story. I hope that this touched somebody and also blessed other women out there who want to have kids, or maybe if you already had kids. I hope that this touched you in some way. Like I said, it is all glory to God that I am here today. It's all glory to God that my son is doing well to this day. I'm so very thankful that I was able to come out on the other side and essentially share my story. And I also feel like that was the trick of the enemy, planting lies in my mind that I should not share this story. Again, there's a lot of talk on the internet about fear mongering and just scaring a lot of mothers away with pregnancy and childbirth, but I'm here to tell you my story. I'm not here to scare anybody away. As you see, I'm pregnant again. I will be having another child, and there is a rainbow at the end of the at the end of the storm. And there's not a storm for everybody. A lot of people do have positive birth stories, and I also strongly encourage you guys to watch those as well. I personally did. This is my second pregnancy, and I also have seen a lot of positivity out there surrounding their birth stories and even induction. So I'm not here to scare you away. If you want to go unmedicated, even if you are still being induced, strongly recommend it, strongly encourage it. I believe you can do anything you put your mind to, but I just think it's important to be well informed. Please stay tuned for my next video. I'll be doing a life update, Q&A, all the things. So if you have any questions or any comments, if you also have a birth story that you would like to share, please drop it in the comments below. I would love to read them. I'm a strong believer in reading other people's experiences and just well informing myself. And I'm so sorry for being MIA for so long on YouTube, but I am back. I'll be here every Sunday at 6 p.m. If you guys have any videos that you would like to see from me, please comment those down below as well. And that is all for today's video. Baby girl and I will see you in the next video. Bye.